Everyone said SVG would never crack ovals. The advanced analytics that dropped over the Easter break tell a completely different story. This isn't hype, this isn't speculation, and this isn't a highlight reel built on cherry-picked moments. The numbers are real, the quotes are real, and the garage is talking. By the time you finish watching this, you'll understand exactly why Shane van Gisbergen is no longer just a road course specialist. He's becoming something far more dangerous. To understand why this story matters, you first have to understand who Shane van Gisbergen actually is, because not every NASCAR fan came in through the front door of his backstory. SVG was born in Auckland, New Zealand, not exactly a city with a NASCAR pipeline running through it. Before he ever touched a stock car, he had already built one of the most decorated motorsport careers outside of Formula One. He won 3 Australian Supercars championships. He recorded 80-plus wins in that series. He won the Bathurst 1,003 times, one of the most physically and mentally demanding endurance races on the planet. He took the Bathurst 12-hour and stood on the podium at the Daytona 24 hours. By any objective measure, he was already considered one of the elite road racers in the world before a single lap in a Cup car. Then came Chicago, 2023. His first ever NASCAR Cup Series start. He won it. Outright. No oval background, no learning curve from years in lower series, no gradual development, just a victory in his very first attempt. To put that in proper historical context, the last driver to win their Cup debut was Johnny Rutherford in 1963. 6 decades had passed without anyone accomplishing that feat. That single result didn't just turn heads, it reframed the entire conversation around SVG's future in American motorsport and opened the door directly to a full-time deal with Trackhouse Racing. Trackhouse brought SVG over with a clear development plan. In 2024, he ran the full Xfinity Series season to build his oval foundation while making scattered Cup starts. He delivered 3 wins, finished 12th in the standings, and did exactly what the team needed him to do on road courses. But those Cup oval appearances told a different story. His best oval finish that year was 26th at Darlington. At the time, the patience in the garage was understandable. He was still learning. The oval gap was real, but nobody rang the alarm bells yet. The real test was always going to come when he stepped into the Cup car full-time in 2025. What 2025 produced was one of the most statistically split seasons in recent NASCAR memory. On road courses, SVG was in a category of his own. He won 5 races from 6 road course starts. At Mexico City, he won by more than 16 seconds, the largest winning margin in Cup racing in over 15 years. He won Chicago again, won Sonoma leading 97 of 110 laps, won Watkins Glen, and won the Charlotte Roval. He reached 5 Cup wins by his 38th start, the fastest driver to that milestone since Dan Gurney in 1968. These are not soft numbers. These belong in the record books alongside some of the greatest road course performances the sport has ever seen. On ovals, the numbers told the exact opposite story. He finished 31st at Phoenix, 34th at Las Vegas, and 32nd at Homestead to open the year. He was stuck outside the top 30 in points for most of the first half of the season, and at one point dropped as low as 33rd in the standings before Mexico City rescued his playoff position. SVG himself didn't hide from it. He said it was one of the toughest starts to any racing he had ever experienced. He talked openly about not understanding how to trust the car in oval banking, about going flat out into corners and letting the car do its job. He admitted, directly, that the driver was the problem, not the car. His crew chief, Stephen Doran, was only in his second Cup season himself, meaning both driver and crew chief were climbing the same steep learning curve at the same time. SVG was clear that there was no finger-pointing. Just 2 people grinding through frustration together. Late in 2025, something began to shift. A top 10 at Kansas in September. An 11th at Talladega. A 14th at Martinsville. Small numbers, but real ones. The improvement had started. The question heading into 2026 was whether it would hold. 7 races into 2026, the answer is becoming impossible to ignore. Walk through what each race has actually shown. At the Daytona 500, SVG qualified 13th, led laps, and was running inside the top 10 before getting collected in someone else's crash. The final result was 30th, an ugly number, but the underlying pace was clearly there. At Atlanta, he finished 6th. That was a career-best oval finish. He went through the infield grass twice and still recovered to finish 6th, jumping from 28th to 16th in the standings in a single afternoon. At COTA, he finished second behind Tyler Reddick, ending his 5-race road course winning streak just one race short of tying Jeff Gordon's record of 6 consecutive road course wins. He still scored 48 points and climbed to 5th in the standings. At Phoenix, he spun twice and still finished 11th. At Las Vegas, he slid onto the apron on lap 1, damaged the front splitter, and spent the rest of the afternoon managing a crippled car. He finished last. That's a result that stings in the context of a standings battle, but it's a mechanical and luck issue, not a performance one. At Darlington, he finished 14th, compare that to 26th in 2024 and 20th in 2025 at the same track. The trajectory is not subtle. Then came Martinsville. He started 5th, ran inside the top 10 throughout the race, collected stage points, and briefly ran second after an aggressive pit strategy. He finished 11th. After the race, SVG made a comment that stood out. He said that starting up front makes the racing flow completely different, cleaner, and easier to manage. He's beginning to understand how ovals work from the inside, not just react to them from the outside. Now here is where the story gets real credibility. Over the Easter break, NASCAR Insights released their advanced statistics using the Adjusted Points Plus Index, a metric that benchmarks individual driver performance against the Cup Series average of 100. These are not eye test results. These are not selective race picks. This is the comprehensive statistical picture of how a driver performs across an entire track category. The data on SVG is significant. He is now above average on drafting tracks and short tracks. On regular ovals, where he is still technically below the Cup average, he is dramatically closer to the benchmark than he was at any point in 2025. Last year, his oval points index sat at 45 and his driver rating at 47.8, nearly half the Cup average. Those numbers have moved meaningfully in a positive direction through the first 7 races of 2026. That kind of improvement inside a single offseason, combined with sustained on-track results, is what separates a genuine development curve from a results fluke. The numbers matter. But what the most respected voices in the garage are saying matters just as much, because these are people racing against SVG every single week. Denny Hamlin, currently the betting favorite for the 2026 championship, said the trend is clear and that elite drivers find a way to adapt. That is not a throwaway compliment from a man who is laser-focused on winning a title. Chase Elliott, the 2020 champion, said he is not surprised at all, pointing to SVG's natural feel for balance behind the wheel as the key factor and calling it a really big deal. Elliott understands the crossover from road course excellence to oval competence better than most. Christopher Bell, one of the most technically precise drivers in the garage, was the most direct. He said SVG is clearly getting it figured out and that it won't be long before he is a genuine oval factor. Bell also made the specific point that the current 20-minute practice format actually works against SVG. With the old multi-hour sessions, he believes SVG would already be further ahead in his oval development. Joey Logano, a 3-time champion not known for handing out compliments, acknowledged SVG's solid start and gave him credit for the job he is doing. And SVG's own teammate, Ross Chastain, is already picturing the moment rugby balls fly over the grandstands at an oval track, referencing SVG's famous victory celebration. That is a teammate who genuinely believes it is coming. After 7 races, SVG sits 14th in the Cup Series standings, right on the playoff bubble. He got there through consistency rather than dominance. Won top 5 all season. No oval win yet. But every week he is banking points, and every week on ovals he is measurably better than the week before. Compare that to Ross Chastain, who sits 5 spots behind with only one top 15 finish all season. SVG has finished ahead of his teammate in 5 of the first 7 races. He is clearly the team leader at Trackhouse right now. Rookie Connor Zilisch won 10 Xfinity races last year but is going through his own Cup adjustment period. SVG's development trajectory looks considerably smoother by comparison. Eric Estep named SVG the most impressive performer at Trackhouse and called his development one of the steepest learning curves in the garage, and he meant that as a compliment, not a criticism. The 2026 Chase format offers no safety net. You either make the playoffs or you don't. SVG is doing exactly what he needs to do to stay in that conversation. When someone in the garage recently asked SVG directly whether an oval win is coming soon, his answer was worth paying attention to. He said he's a long way from that. He said he doesn't want to win with luck. He wants to earn it. He said he knows what's going on now instead of just being a deer in headlights, but he also acknowledged he's still a little bit away. That level of honesty, from a driver with 5 Cup wins already, a driver who won his very first Cup Series start, is rare in professional motorsport. He is not deflecting the oval question, not managing public expectations with spin. He is putting his head down, processing data, trusting his crew chief, and learning one oval at a time. The critics said SVG would never crack ovals. 7 races into 2026, the adjusted points plus index, the race results at Atlanta, Phoenix, Darlington, and Martinsville, and the most respected voices in the NASCAR garage are all pointing in the same direction. Shane van Gisbergen is figuring it out. And if the trajectory that started in late 2025 continues through the back half of 2026, the oval win he says he's still working toward may arrive considerably sooner than even he expects. If you made it this far, you clearly care about NASCAR at a deeper level than the casual highlights, and that is exactly who this channel is built for. Do us a favor and hit that like button, because it directly helps this channel keep growing and keeps this level of analysis coming every single week. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. We cover NASCAR every week with the kind of depth and data-driven breakdown you are simply not getting anywhere else. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another breakdown. We will see you in the next one.